Okay, so we begin our shloka recitation with our respectful obeisances and prayers to the beautiful deities of ISKCON Sheshadripur Jagannath Mandir. बलदेवा प्रभु की जय, सुभद्रा महारानी की जय, लॉर्ड जगन्नाथ की जय, गौरताई की जय, पंचतत्व की जय, लॉर्ड वामन देव की जय, लॉर्ड परशुरामा की जय, गुरु परंपरा की जय, श्रील प्रपात की जय, श्रील गुरु महाराज की जय. We'll say our prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunamadi Paschata Deshatarane. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधरा शिव सादि गौर भक्त वृंद. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, so we are in chapter 16, Divine and Demoniac Nature. Today we'll be doing Shloka 5. Okay. Devi Sampadi Mokshaya Nibandhaya Surimata Ma Shucha Sampadam Devim Abhijato Asi Pandava. Translation. The transcendental qualities are conducive to liberation, whereas the demoniac qualities make for bondage. Do not worry, O son of Manu, for you are born with divine qualities. Okay, in the last few shlokas, especially the first three, they talk about the divine qualities, Devi Sampat, first three shlokas, 1, 2, and 3. Devi means transcendental, Sampat means assets, Asuri means demoniac qualities. So here Arjuna is being advised by Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna has already described what is he has described what is Devi Sampat and what is Asuri Sampat. Okay. And in the Vishnu Purana, Padma Purana, it is mentioned there are three deities. I mean, it's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita also. So there are three deities: Lord Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. And those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu, they are called Devas. Ravana was a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and Hiranyakashipu was a great devotee of Lord Brahma. But both of them, all the great devotees, have been described as Asura and Rakshasa. Right? We already know from the scriptures. So those who are devotees of Lord Vishnu, they are called Deva, Devata, or demigods, and the other is Asuras. So here, Devi Sampad Vimokshaya. What is the difference between Devata and Asura is being explained by Lord Krishna. So if you develop your divine qualities as they are described, Ahimsa, Satya, Samshuddhi, and many more, which were mentioned in the previous sloka. Sattva Samshuddhi means existential purification or purification of one's existence. So now our material body existence actually material is impure and we do take spiritual activity in such a way that we try to maintain our existence or purify our existence. And that is not the case with spiritual or spiritual. Everything is spiritual, everything is that is about it. And everything is spiritual in the spiritual world. But here in material world, there is duality. There is material and spiritual. Soul is spiritual. Material existence is material, so it needs to be. So we need to maintain or keep our existence as pure. So this existential purification is required, and there are so many rules and regulations. So Param Pavitra, we as spirit soul are originally pure because Lord Krishna is pure. Lord Krishna is absolute truth. He is completely spiritual, 100% spiritual. His body is also spiritual. His soul and body, there is no difference. It's spiritual. Whereas we in this material world have a material body, but the soul is actually spiritual and pure. So, so Arjuna, after understanding Bhagavad Gita, accepts Lord Krishna as Param Pavitra. So in the shloka 10.12, it was mentioned, Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. You are Param Pavitra, and that God is Param Pavitra is also mentioned in Isha Upanishad, Isha Mantra 8, where it says, Apapa Vidham, Ashnaviram, no veins. Ash Asnaviram means the body of God, there are no veins, and therefore Apapa Vidham. So veins, if anybody has got veins, then it is a material body. The body is maintained under certain material conditions. So Srila Prabhupada gives wonderful detail to all this. He says that the body, if it is maintained under certain material conditions, you eat food, the food stuff gets transformed into secretion through the veins, it goes to the heart, and the heart, it becomes RBC, or red blood corpuscles, the blood. The blood is then diffused, and therefore there are so many channels, veins throughout the body. And all these things are pushed with air. That circulation happens with the air, different kinds of air. And if there is shortage of air circulation, any kind of shortage of air circulation for any of the system in the body, the person becomes paralyzed. And this is scientific. So all this process, these things are required for material body, and it is not for spiritual body. Spiritual body is completely spiritual, no veins, and the soul and body is same. Like in Lord Krishna, there is no difference between his body and Krishna himself. It's all spiritual. In spiritual body, Ashnaviram, there are no veins, and Lord Krishna has no veins. And if there is there is no difference between his body and soul. And anybody who misunderstands Lord Krishna as having a material body, and it is described in Bhagavad Gita, that person is a mudaha, or fool. That means fool. Anybody who thinks that Lord Krishna's body is material is a mudaha, a foolish person. Our present bodies are different from soul. So that is what we mentioned. Therefore, our existence with this present material body is not Shuddha, it is not pure. So, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi, mentioned in the previous shloka. And Abhayam means fearlessness. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that Abhayam means fearlessness. Because unless one becomes fearless, he cannot give up his present position. So people will be afraid of change. So when we hear about spiritual life, scriptures talk about all this. And if you don't become fearless, you would be hesitant in leaving what is material, whatever you have acquired, and you would not be willing to go completely spiritual. So we know about the Goswamis of Vrindavana. They were so opulent. They were in very high positions materially, of the Nawab and Sanatan Goswami, Srila Sanatan Goswami, Srila Rupa Goswami, Srila Raghunatha Dasa Goswami. They were very rich, opulent, but they left. They were fearless. They were convinced with the spiritual life. They were convinced with the spirit scriptures. Of course, they had direct darshan of the Lord, and the Lord gave them knowledge. But that is how it is. So you become fearless, and you're not afraid of switching. So that is what Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentions. So according to Vedic system also, we know that there is a sannyas order, and one should accept the sannyas order at the last stage of life. So this whole institution, Varna Ashrama system, is meant for Sattva Samshuddhi. So one has to purify his existential life, our present material life. Otherwise, if he does not purify his existence, then he has to transmigrate from one body to another, and this will continue his material existence, one life after another. Sometimes higher life form, sometimes lower life form, but still it will be material. The material existence will be material. So that is why we need to purify our existential life. Vimokshaya. Therefore, Bhagavan said, Devi Sampad Vimokshaya. If you develop Devi Sampat, these qualities, as described previously mentioned, the divine qualities, Ahimsa, Sattva, Samshuddhi, and many more, then you will get out, Vimokshaya, free yourself from the material existence. Asuri Sampat. Unfortunately, the current present modern civilization does not have knowledge, and that there is a position called Vimokshaya, or about next life. or about transmigration of the soul. They do not believe in it, they don't have knowledge of it. And Srila Prabhupada says that is Asuri Sampat, demoniac assets. So, Pravritti and Nivritti, the Asuras don't know how or in which direction their life should be directed. That is Pravritti, and what sort of life they should be detached from or refrain from or give up, Nivritti. So, Manusmriti gives more detail about this Pravritti Nivrittis, where it says Pravrittis Nivrittis to Mahapalam. The whole Shastra or whole Vedic system is for Pravritti Nivritti. They are gradually training us. Just a living entity has got natural inclination for Vyavaya, sex life, and Madhya, Seva, intoxication, Amisa, Seva, meat eating. There is natural instinct for all these. But Asuras, they don't try to stop it. They don't try to change their existence. They keep it impure. They want to increase it actually. So that is Asura life. Asura life. So if you're not prepared to accept the pravritis and nivritis, then you must know that person is a Asura. So Krishna consciousness means that it is not that if a man is born in a Asura family, he cannot be Deva, he cannot acquire divine qualities. No, that is not the case. He can be a Deva, he can acquire divine qualities. So this Krishna consciousness movement is giving chance to everyone to become Devta, have divine qualities, because without becoming Devata or having divine qualities, he will continue to remain entangled and continues this fourfold process of birth, death, disease, old age. So that is why Lord Krishna said that Devi Sampat Vimokshaya. If you want to get rid of this troublesome material existence, this miserable condition of material existence, then you have to develop Devi Sampat, divine divine qualities, acquire divine assets. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also accepted Jagai and Madhai, although they were initially Brahmana, but because of bad association, they were not following four regulated principles. They were doing all sorts of wrong things, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave them mercy, and immediately they were purified. So at present, the human society is considered uncivilized if, without the previously mentioned four things like meat eating, gambling, drinking, illicit sex, if you don't do all this, you consider uncivilized. There are clubs which provide all these things. So therefore, the Vedic rule, the pravritti, nivritti, have been formulated such a way that if a man has got pravritti for meat eating or drinking or for sex life or gambling, it is regulated. So there are uh, and gradually refrain it, and come to a level that he comes to refrain it. It can be in that life, it can take another life, and so on. So we have heard that in Kali Puja, people gamble, especially the mercantile class. They take advantage of it. Sex is allowed in married life. Meat eating is allowed, but that means one has to offer Kali, goddess Kali, but not purchase meat from the market or slaughterhouse. So these things are there mentioned, and gradually one comes to refrain it and all these habits. So that is Nivriti, and it is all Vedic. So, but Krishna conscious movement, when if you take to Vaishnava philosophy, one has to immediately give up all these things. Otherwise, it is not possible. So now Arjuna, when he hears that in this shloka, and Lord Krishna says that to Arjuna, my dear Pandava, Arjuna, don't be afraid, because as soon as Lord Krishna says that Daivi Sampad Vimokshaya Nibandhaya Suri Mata. So Nibandhaya Suri Mata. I am fighting now. Arjuna felt like that. And that this is the business of an Asuri. I am now violent. So he becomes afraid. And then I am also an Asuri Sampad. That Krishna immediately said, no, 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 don't worry, Arjuna. Don't be afraid. Ma Shucha Sampadam Devim. My dear Arjuna, don't be afraid. Why? Because you are not Asuri. I'm fighting. It is actually I'm fighting and you're fighting for me. Therefore, you are not Asura. You're not Asura. So when you're fighting for your personal sense gratification, they are asuras. But if you're fighting for the right cause has to be confirmed. Um, just like Arjuna fought with when he understood that this fighting is for the right cause, it is sanctioned by Lord Krishna. So one cannot formulate or make your own right cause. That is mental concoction. You must get it sanctioned. So that is principle of Devi or divine life. And Arjuna was perplexed. Lord Krishna is explaining to him, and he's telling him. So that is how it is. So these things are described in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita completely gives all these details. And Krishna consciousness, if you come to it, you have to avoid these four sinful principles of sinful life: illicit sex, meat eating, gambling, and intoxication, and chant Hare Krishna and read Bhagavad Gita, and then one's life will be successful. And if you engage yourself in devotional service to Krishna, immediately you become elevated to the position of Brahman. So there's more detail to it, and we will find that in the few next shlokas. So thank you, Prabhuji, Mataji. Thanks for joining. Please join again tomorrow. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandat pranams.